Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Coming up, we talk with Houstonian and Bonneville record holder Andy Loyd.
Very cool.
We need more. Jeff will review his pre-owned car of the week. Are you ready? Are you sitting down?
Yep.
The Chevy Monza, of which I owned one back in the day.
A little nostalgic.
Later, Michael Woody on Woody's Waterfront Car Show. We've got the racing calendar. We'll also have the stories making automotive news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars right there. King Conrad DeLong here, His Highness. And then we have...
We need more Jeff.
We need more Jeff Dziekan right over here. Before we get going, let me remind you that this segment of In Wheel Time is sponsored by Garages of Texas. Luxury garage suites. Put a roof over your ride.
That's right.
Well, we're so glad that you could join us today. It's a beautiful day here in Houston, Texas. It's going to be hot, hot, hot this afternoon. And Jeff and I have a... Did I take it?
You took it back in the house.
I took it back in the house. So Jeff and I have a special project that we're going to work on this weekend.
I thought it was a date.
Kind of a date.
Okay.
Over at your house in the garage, we're going to install the Hurst shifter that I took delivery on yesterday for the Corvette.
Because you're going to a short shifter.
I'm going to a short shifter, and I have always hated that shifter that's in there.
He's more comfortable with a short shifter.
Yes.
It's 16% shorter. It's not a whole bunch.
The throws are 16% shorter.
Yeah, but it'll make a difference when you drive the car. You will notice.
Oh, I know. And I'm truly looking forward to it. You know, I never treat myself to anything, and I had real bad buyer's guilt after I ordered it.
Yeah.
And I came yesterday, and I'm still feeling a little bit guilty over buying this thing for the car. And once it's in there and it's working perfectly, which I know it will, I'll feel a whole lot better.
If we're not back on next week's show, we're still in the garage.
Yeah, we'll send help if
we'll
you're not back.
We'll have to push the car back over here to my house.
There you go.
Yeah, there's that. All right, so we got a lot to go with this Saturday, and I think we're going to start with a great guest. His name is Andy Loyd. Andy, good morning to you. Local guy, Houstonian. It's good to see you, and looks like we're in the shop there.
Nice.
Good morning. Yes, you are. This is my man cave, as they call it. It's actually my sanctuary.
Are you a Houstonian by birth?
No. I am Texan by birth. I was born in just below Fort Worth, Texas, and grew up all over Texas. My dad was in oil, and we were very nomadic. So I've been in Houston since 1990, 91.
That's certainly long enough. But so we'll call you a Houstonian, and
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it here. So Andy is a Bonneville racer, and you know I don't believe that I have ever known a Bonneville racer. Well, now I can say I do. So I am honored to be in your presence. First of all, before we get going, how did you get into a car that you knew that you were going to prepare it to go out to Bonneville and make a run?
That's the exciting part of the sport. Even my wife has brought that to my attention. She said, how can you work on a car all year, never get to drive it, get to Bonneville, put on your fire suit, and go over 200 miles an hour in a car that you haven't driven in over a year? I just tell her it's faith.
Yeah.
You know the car.
Yeah, inside and out. Well, let's go back a little bit and let's talk about your passion for the sport, one, and when did you get into cars?
I got into cars very young. I don't know. My dad always had hot rods as in the late 50s. I'm a product of the mid 50s, or mid to early 50s. Let me do a side note right quick. I got in. Let me tell you about Bonneville.
Okay.
I believe I was 8 years old, and I was going to school in a little town called Electra, Texas, which is near Wichita Falls. And I had a school teacher named Mrs. Combest, and she passed out these weekly readers that we would get. Do you all remember those?
Very well.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
we certainly do.
I got my weekly reader, and I always look forward to them, but there was an article on Craig Breedlove.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
And his quest to do 400 miles an hour. And that always stuck with me. And so I inquired with Miss Combest about why would somebody want to build a car to go 400 miles an hour? And where is this Bonneville? It was in the article that Craig had built this car in his dad's backyard. He was in his early 20s, I believe. Well, Miss Combest, instead of just sending me back to my desk, she said, go to the library and get Miss Smith to help you with information, find out who this guy is and where the Bonneville Salt Flats are. So I happily run down the hallway, which I remember getting in trouble for. I think I'm 8, but we didn't have Google, so we had to go through the Britannica.
Oh, sure.
The Encyclopedia Britannica. Miss Smith was very patient with me. We didn't find anything on Craig Breedlove because it was such recent news at that time, but I learned a lot about the Bonneville Salt Flats. And there's just something about that. And so I went back to class, and Miss Combest had me to stand up in front of the class and tell the class what I had learned. And I knew then that one day
You'd never ask another question of your teacher because you didn't want to stand up in front of the class and tell everybody.
And get in trouble.
well, usually I had to, go sit up in the front corner, but I'm still mischievous. She was very kind, and I asked the question again, why is it that somebody would want to go 400 miles an hour? And she said, there are people in the world that have dreams and desires, and they put their mind to it, they can do it. Well,
There you are.
That's where you caught the bug.
Exactly.
that's it.
Yep, stuck with you all these years. So,
Yes, sir.
well, that's awesome. And I assume that you've had a lot of street hot rods in your life that have kind of built yourself up to getting to Bonneville with a car that will go over 200 miles an hour. What kind of car is it that you have?
We have 2 cars. I have a co-partner. I have a partner in the deal. This is our 53 Studebaker.
Studebaker.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. And it's powered by a 259 cubic inch blown Chevy small block.
So I'm assuming that the 259 gets you in a specific class.
That is correct.
With the blower.
Yes, sir.
And that is that this? Have you stayed kind of in the same class through the years, or have you kind of moved it around a little bit?
Well, we've pretty much stayed. A little background on the car. The car was built by Terry Hunt back in the late 80s and early 90s. The gentleman is out of California. He had run the car for several years, set several records with a larger engine. And then as time would have it, he eventually sold the car, I believe, in the late 90s. And 2 Houstonians, Dale Ross and Leo Sands, had purchased the car from Mr. Hunt. And then they campaigned it for a couple of years. And I believe they each have a record with it.
Oh, wow.
And then in 2016, Gene McFaddin and I acquired the car. And early in 16, and I actually, to learn the car, we took the car somewhat apart to see how everything worked and make sure everything was in good working order. In the middle of acquiring this car, we were building a 1998 Camaro that had a 369 cubic inch LS platform engine. Both of these cars produce over about 850 horsepower.
Wow.
Even though they're two different, the Camaro is unblown, it's naturally aspirated.
Wow.
But in 2016, I made my first pass. I qualified. The record at that time was 204 point something, some change. And I missed it by half a mile an hour as far as qualifying. So went back to pits. Yeah, went back to the pits, regrouped, checked everything, got back in line, and I made another pass. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, the car had been in storage almost 4 years before we acquired it. So on my second pass, I qualified. I went 206 and some change, but I blew both head gaskets. And so we were through.
Back to the pits.
Yeah, because you got to make the return run for the record.
Yep.
Well, we went to impound, and so we have 45 minutes to get to impound. So I made the decision, I'm going to go for broke, and we went to impound. We discussed it. I had a talk with Mr. McFaddin or Gene, and said, the engine's hurt. I want to go for this. So if it's okay with you, I'm gonna suit up again, and we're gonna go back out. And
put a little stop leak in it. See if you can slow the head gasket power loss down.
Actually, we drained most of the water out because it was pushing water out of the headers.
Just ran it dry.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, let's finish this story on the other side of a quick break here. We need to stop for just a few seconds and take a break. And I want to know more about the engine and how you tune something like that to get the horsepower out of it that you need to break the speed. So stay with us. Andy Loyd, Houstonian and Bonneville speed racer, will be back after this quick break.
Garages of Texas offers first-class luxury garage suites to keep your collection in a safe, secure location with 24-hour access. You'll love your own private space that's developed with other like-minded enthusiasts in 2 Houston area locations, in Katy and the Woodlands. Visit garagesoftexas.com to see how other enthusiasts have designed their motor vehicle man cave. But you need to act fast. These properties are almost sold out. Visit garagesoftexas.com for full details.
You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show on this Saturday. This is September the 4th, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking to Andy Loyd. He's a Houstonian and a Bonneville speed record holder. So let's talk just a little bit about the engine that you have in there. Kind of a strange cubic inch for a small block Chevrolet. How did you get to that?
Actually, Keith Dorton is the engine builder out of South Carolina. And he and his son Jeff, they're the engine builders that put this little mouse that could together. In my class in E, we're only allowed 260 cubic inches. So I'm at 259.88.
Yep. Okay.
Hopefully you don't scratch a cylinder wall and it grows by a little bit, huh?
Well, I've been through a few pistons, so, and actually on this last outing, we hurt the motor. We lost a cylinder again, so that's the engine behind me.
So how much boost do you run?
Actually, I'm only running 18 pounds of boost.
Only running 18 pounds.
How do you
boost.
keep the head gaskets on that thing?
Well, he blows them all the time.
So on that, is this a roots type blower?
It's a Pro Charger type.
Pro Charger, okay.
It's on the front of the engine.
So it bolts on the side and pushes in.
Yeah.
Not in the.
We don't want anything sticking up in the air. The
Okay.
airflow, so the hood is smooth.
So how do you go about tuning this clearly built for speed motor before you get there? I mean, I guess you can throw a timing
different between Houston and Bonneville.
You can throw a timing light on it, and you can adjust the carburetor. But I mean, do you put it on?
Well, is it carbureted or fuel injected?
Aspirated.
No, it's
Normally
mechanically. In this class, we run a mechanical fuel injection.
Okay, so mechanical fuel injection, but timing is everything. Clearly,
There's
it's
no
got plenty of boost. So how do you tune the car before you get there?
Well, actually, Keith and Jeff do that in South Carolina on a dyno.
Okay. All right. So
we do the maintenance as far as changing the fluids, checking the plugs. Another thing was fascinating about the car is it uses a aeronautics throttle body. It has an aircraft. It has a throttle body for an aircraft.
Okay.
It doesn't use a carburetor.
Right. Okay. So what kind of transmission does it have?
We just have a NASCAR type 4-speed.
Okay.
It's been heavily
Modified,
yes.
So once you get the car rolling, do you have to use the clutch to change gears?
Don't have to. You just pull the lever and go.
Yeah. Right.
We have to be pushed off. We're running a 324 rear gear.
Okay.
Right now it has a quick change in it. We have to change gears depending on the salt conditions.
I see. And what kind of RPM do you run on the engine when you're at speed?
At peak.
I will usually through mile 4, I'll be between 8,700 and 9,000 RPM.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know how you keep the thing together, but apparently it's well built.
He's got a lot of parts.
Yeah, it's happy.
And
that's what's so nice.
And
that's what's so good about it.
And you said it was a 334 gear on it?
The 324.
324 gear. And when you go on that quick change, when you bring multiple gear sets with you, kind of what would the range of those gear sets be?
Well, I carry like 9 sets with me.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So you can really fine tune that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yep. All right, now let's get to aerodynamics, if you will. Now, I realize that since you said it, that the car was really kind of built for the Bonneville Salt Flats. So what kind of aerodynamic changes did they make from the original stock body on the car to make it slick and smooth?
Well, the designer, it's designed like a Coke bottle, and it has a long wheelbase. It's just long and long wheelbase, and it's low.
And is this
probably shave the door handles, things like that?
No, I'm not allowed to. It's a stock-bodied car.
Oh, wow.
What modifications have you made since you've owned it?
Actually, I'm so proud of the car because it's so iconic. It originally was called the Guam Bomb. The car came from Guam.
Oh, wow.
I have the paperwork on it that I got from the original owner. And I hope he sees this. He's
cool.
I've been in communication with him and his wife and his daughter.
Neat.
They're quite excited that the history of the car lives on. I haven't changed anything as far as how the car looks, because it deserves to.
Well,
how you see it is how it's been run all those years.
And that Studebaker body is iconic to Bonneville. I think there's probably more Studebakers at Bonneville than there are on the street anymore, because that car, though it comes out of the 50s, that's a Lowry design car, isn't it?
That is correct. That is a Lowry design.
That it was so far advanced aerodynamically for everything else built in the 50s is why the car has been very much an icon out at Bonneville. So do you have to run at factory ride height, or can you adjust your ride height a little bit?
The car is lowered for aerodynamics. There's 2 things that really I fear, but I still get in and go. But one is getting air under the car,
right,
and the other one is fire.
Yeah.
Well,
so
200 miles an hour, I think both of those could be
a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
well, Andy, we could go on for a long time talking to you about this car. Let's pick this up on another date. We want to get some more information from you, if that's okay with you. We've run out of time this time, but it's been a pleasure to talk to you and learn more about your Bonneville racing career and the Studebaker that you're currently running, and we thank you so much for joining us
Andy,
today.
Ronnie
Thanks for having me.
Ronnie Owen says hello online.
Hello, Ronnie.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Well, we
definitely want to have you back.
Yeah, we look forward to talking to you again. Andy Loyd, Houstonian and Bonneville racer. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, it's pretty easy to do. All you got to do is shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Racing is in full swing, especially this weekend, all around around the world, really, but especially here in the United States with it being Labor Day weekend. And Conrad has the racing calendar.
So the Dodge SRT U.S. Nationals are going on, and friends of the show, Stan Holt and the whole Emmons crew are out there racing. And
posse.
we wish them all much success. And and then Darlington is tomorrow, in the NASCAR Cup, and then Richmond is on the Saturday night races on the 11th, and Bristol is Saturday night races on the 18th, and then they go to Las Vegas and Talladega. But they are in the countdown now, so each 4 races, a certain number of drivers of the 16 get punched out as far as an opportunity, knocked out for the
Thrown
championship.
away, leave the country.
So, and then Formula One, the Dutch Grand Prix is going on today. They're qualifying today, and then the race will be on. I believe it's on ESPN2 tomorrow. And then next weekend is the Italian Grand Prix, and then on the 26th of September is the Grand Prix of Russia in Sochi, which was where they had the Olympics a number of years ago. WeatherTech IMSA is next weekend at Laguna Seca, and then on the 25th at Long Beach. IndyCar is at Portland next weekend, and then they'll be at Laguna Seca on the 19th. But the big news is, if you're into NASCAR and you're in Houston, Texas, is next Saturday at Houston Motorsports Park is the second annual Truck Challenge by the Gulf Coast Racing Series, and they're offering a $10,000 first place paycheck, and $5,000 for second and $2,500 for third. So it's going to be great racing next Saturday out at Houston Motorsports Park. It's
going to be packed.
Come on out. It's going to be packed.
Matter of fact, we're going to talk to Gina Chalnose later
Gate
on.
opens at 5. $1 beers, $1 dogs, $1 Dawn.
I'm in.
That's it. All right, thank you, sir. It's time now for our car review of the morning in this hour, and Jeffrey Dziekan does our pre-owned car of the week.
That's
and
right.
this week, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. It's the Chevy Monza, of which I owned one that I bought out of the dealership way back in the day.
Well, I'm going to take you on a little world tour of the Monza.
Yes.
I owned one as well. I had a 77, and it was the Spider. We'll have a picture of it coming up here. But the Chevrolet Monza is in a line of cars produced by General Motors. The nameplate can refer to 3 distinctive models, with the origins with each having been marked for a specific region, meaning the world. Chevrolet Monza first emerging in the United States in 1974, Don. Is that the one you had?
I had a 75.
As a subcompact vehicle, a 2+2 fastback body, sporty character, GM took the Monza name from the namesake submodel of the Chevrolet Corvair, introduced in 1961. The shot that you have up there is the one I had. With the Corvair being one of the most popular...
Is that you in the driver's seat?
No, that's not me.
That's too much hair.
So in North America, the original Monza was introduced in 1975, like we said, derived from the H-body rear-wheel drive platform.
Which was, now let's get real.
That is.
The platform of this derived from the Chevy Vega.
Wega. It's a Wega.
But the Vega had advanced from when it originally came out as far as...
No, it hadn't.
Yeah, a little
No, it hadn't. No.
It included 4 and 6-cylinder engines as standard, offering the V8. Now, Don, you had the V8.
I had the V8.
V6.
An anemic.
It was 260 cubic inches, wasn't it?
Oh God, it was awful.
We're going to move on to the
please let's move on
to the South American model, the second generation of the. Well, it's a world tour. The Chevrolet Monza emerged in Brazil in 1982, 2 years after General Motors.
That's where they got the word Brazilian from.
Well, yeah. 2 years after General Motors discontinued it. Unlike the original model, this model was a front-wheel drive, based on the third generation Opel. It's an Opel for you. Featured a 6-cylinder engine.
I want to talk about the one that I had.
Well, the ones right in there, that the shots are there, are the Brazilian.
Yeah, I know.
But
They're
go ahead, you can
really
talk about
ugly.
yours.
No, continue on.
Okay, well, and then later on, what you see there, that is the Chinese model. In 2019, Chevrolet Monza debuted in China on November 15th, 2018, representing the first time the Monza nameplate was used in China. It's a good-looking car. But here's the catch. The third generation of the Monza traditional compact-size sedan had a two turbocharged 3-cylinder engines. The generation of the Monza could be marketed in China, which was positioned one level below the Cruze. So you'll see in that picture the resemblance of the Chevy Cruze.
But the Monza actually had quite a large, the original one back in the 70s, had quite a large following, and Chevrolet had seen quite a bit of success.
Every time I drove it, the people followed me.
Yeah, the police
Particularly the wreckers.
Yeah, but it had a pretty good success in drag racing because a number of people had run pro stock in it, and then as well as road racing because this became their leader in the road racing.
If you get on the internet and look up or Google this Monza, not this Monza, but Monza in general, you will find a lot of hot rods, big blowers sticking out of the hoods.
Oh, you find
all
that guy
tubbed.
on.
So let me tell you my 1975 Monza story,
Here
if
we
I
go.
may. You ready?
Yep.
Got it. Brand new, right, from Richardson Chevrolet. And the very first thing out of the box, me and my friend Buddy, I was in a bowling tournament in Dallas. So off we went to Dallas for me to go in this bowling tournament. And it was in the wintertime. And guess what?
Oh, that car.
The heater didn't work.
Oh, no.
Froze to death all the way up there. Had to use a blanket for our legs and, in the lap. And, it was just awful. Just awful.
And I worked on that generation car when I was a technician at Eskridge Olds in Oklahoma City. And Oldsmobile had their version called the Starfire. That was absolutely the worst car to try and put a heater core in because of where it was positioned and how you couldn't get to it, especially you said yours had the V8.
V8.
You couldn't.
You ever tried to change the spark plugs in that car, you have to chop off your hands because you couldn't get the.
Especially if it had AC.
Going to the bowling tournament, you must have had frost on your balls getting up there.
Probably something like that. Thank you so much for that. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on your favorite podcast channel. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Winning the highest sales satisfaction award among all luxury brands from J.D. Power in 2020 tells you everything you need to know about your Lincoln purchase from Bayway. Bayway Lincoln is where a premium buying experience is a priority, and you're invited to feel it yourself. This Houstonian-owned premier dealership is managed by Lincoln Stahl, a seasoned member of the Bayway family. If it's online, in person, or in your own driveway, Bayway gets you to the luxury level you deserve. Bayway Lincoln is on the Gulf Freeway at Fuquay, just inside Beltway 8. Visit BaywayLincoln.com today. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, September 18th at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, September 18th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.